Hi, and welcome to the video course, Interconnecting Cisco Network Devices, ICND1. My name is Patrick Lohner, and I'll be your instructor on this course. We're going to start just with a little bit about my background. I've been in the IT industry, both working and training, since the late 90s. I got my start at a training facility. Early on, was certified in several CompTIA certifications, CCNA, and Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer certifications. For the first several years, I not only did training, but I also worked on that networking environment as the network admin. During that time, configured switches and routers, firewalls, dealt with network connectivity, troubleshooting, even made some design changes along with working a lot of times on the software side of things, the Microsoft network services as well. Second place that I worked at was more of a consulting agency. We were the help desk and support system for small businesses in our area, but would also partner with medium to large enterprises for particular projects. Some of those would be network related and others would be more of the software and network services types of things. And then for the last 8 to 9 years, I've been working as really a freelance IT contract trainer as well as consultant. During those times, again, we've kind of touched a lot of different areas, both on the software and the networking side. Now, ICND1 is sort of the benchmark certification or benchmark training for the CCENT certification. Coupled with ICND2 is the CCNA certification. And really this is a foundation for anybody who wants to get into networking. I originally got my CCNA, for instance, back in the year 2000 and have continued to keep that up to date so as to be knowledgeable on new features, new products that Cisco and others have released. And so it's very important for you as well, which I'm sure you know, and that's why you're watching this course. So what are we going to be talking about? Well, a lot of fundamental concepts are going to be what we're going through. If you have some background in networking, you may be familiar with some of these things, but I think we're going to dig much deeper than you may ever have before, specifically in the area of the configuration of switches and routers. We're going to start just with some network fundamentals. So we're going to dig in and look at what makes a LAN, what's the difference between a local area network and a wide area network. Dig into the concepts of IP addressing and routing and looking at TCP/IP in depth as a networking model. Then we'll look at some basic Ethernet LAN implementation, the command line interface and the Cisco IOS on Cisco Catalyst switches will be our predominant focus. What commands do we use to configure switch ports? What are the different options that are available, and how do you get comfortable with iOS and its command line interface? We'll look at designing and troubleshooting Ethernet LANs, standard LANs, and then we'll also broach the subject of virtual LANs, which are heavily used when dealing with switches on enterprise networks. We are going to spend a ton of time on the IPv4 addressing and routing concepts. This is very critical. It makes up a large portion of the exam. We have to be able to look at an IP address and a subnet mask and derive key facts about it. What class of network is it on? How many hosts are available on that network? Has the IP address been subnetted? What network, what address should the default gateway be? We're going to go from start to finish. We'll start sort of basic and then we'll start getting more in depth. We'll look at things like variable length subnetting and advanced design concepts. And we'll also look at just putting that into practice. Okay, it's one thing to have the addresses, but now we need to configure those addresses in DHCP for clients, and we need to configure Cisco routers using that same iOS and command line interface as we have on a switch. We'll also talk about some IPv4 services like port ACLs and other security related features. IPv4 is not the only protocol that we're going to interact with. We will spend the majority of the time on IPv4, but IPv6, the next generation of TCP/IP, is out and being used in some networks. So we'll spend some time looking at that addressing and how to implement it as well. And we'll top it all off with managing network devices. Again, primarily that is switches and routers. So I'm excited to start this course. I hope that you are as well. There's going to be a lot of very useful information in it to prepare you both for the real world and functioning as a network technician or network engineer, as well as passing the certification exam. So without further ado, let's get started.